Hi, sorry guys, so I have good news and bad news. The good news is you can see my face again, and I can use the flip feature. Well, no, I can't use the flip feature, but at least I can't use the flip feature. At least the problem is solved of the problem I was experiencing in the previous video. And of course that leads to my bad news, which is I have to make this into 2 videos, which I hate doing. It requires me to upload twice. I don't like doing that. I'll do it for you guys though, so. Alright. Is it snowing yet today? What's going on? No. It looked like it was snowing. Okay. Alright, so today I wanted to talk about, obviously the video, this is what we learned. First thing is, did you see the, hold on. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember the first video. It was like, does anyone remember? It was like, what exactly was happening? She was, honestly don't remember. So we're gonna just skip that. Let's talk about the second video. Second video talked about an in vivo exposure, which is what I do on my videos. In vivo exposure is where the patient experiences the anxiety and stays with it until it comes down. Right? In real life, they do whatever makes them anxious. She was scared of dogs, so she used a graded model, a graded goal-oriented system. Perhaps she was prepped with deep breathing exercises, relaxation exercises, and perhaps very mild exposures before going to the office. For example, maybe she was instructed by her counselor to get pictures of dogs and look at them for a while. Maybe watch a dog documentary for a while. Maybe just walk around the block and, look at a dog if you can do that, or hear a dog bark on you can find sounds of dogs barking. Just listen to that for a bit. Okay? Her main fear in the in vivo exposure was getting sick because she had OCD. It's the same treatment for phobias and OCD. It's the same treatment. She thought that because the dog leash was dirty, it might have had blood on it, saliva, bacteria, that would get on her skin and make her sick, so she has to really take a shower. It's classic OCD, fear of getting sick, contamination, necessitating washing of the affected area. And so an in vivo exposure is that. And if she was to do an imaginal exposure, how she would do it is she would imagine doing these things. She would imagine touching a leash. How would it feel? Is it rough? What color is it? Whose leash is it? He bites it, she said, so where does he bite it, right? Think about the bacteria. Oh, the thousands and millions and billions of bacteria on the leash, and how they can get into your skin and burrow into your skin and cause you to be sick. Think about all these things. Think about getting sick. Think about the fevers and the coughing and the vomiting and the being in the hospital, right? Oh my goodness, that's making me anxious. That's imaginal exposure. I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer in vivo exposure, just going and right doing it. As I said, for 2 reasons. One, I need food to live, so might as well, do an in vivo exposure rather than imagining, okay, I'm eating the food, it's going in my mouth, and then I'm, it's gonna go down, I'm gonna choke, and I'm gonna start coughing, and I'm gonna have a coughing fit, and I'm gonna have to call the hospital, and I'll start passing out, and no one's home. That's an imaginal exposure, where you imagine what's gonna happen, sit with it until you realize like it's absurd, or your brain tells you it's absurd, or that your anxiety is overblown, or that at least to some extent the anxiety level comes down, because it peaks and it comes down. Hope that's informative. You guys understand. I think I'm fairly confident. For about 3 months, I believe whoever's been watching these videos from beginning to end, and that's how I'm going to judge this. I'm not going to judge this based on my most popular video or my most commented video. I'm just going to judge it based on progression, natural, from the beginning to the end. Almost like a classroom. I believe everyone here is mostly understands what I'm talking about now. exposure therapy, Invivios therapy, imaginal exposure, OCD, OCPD, depression, the bell curve one has, and how nature kind of, in a way, doesn't allow anxiety for extended periods of time if you just kind of stay with it. That's the thing, though. If you don't stay with it, then you'll be going against nature, and your entire, you'll just turn it on yourself. You almost eat yourself. It's horrible. Alright, so my plan for today is working. I have work at 2 hours. And I want to also go to the mosque for my Friday prayers, and then basically, have some time in the middle of the day, maybe after around 5 or 6, and then probably just work the dinner maybe around 7 to 10, and then that's about it. That's my day. That's how I plan my day. I still need to take a shower. It looks so dirty, and I don't care. I know people. At least I'm thinking this probably is mind reading. I'd like to think most people don't care how other people look. I don't usually get ready to make a YouTube video. Like, I don't like brush my teeth, comb my hair, take a shower, and all that stuff before I make a YouTube video. I just don't. It's not like I know people that do. I just don't. Anyhow, I think I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, so did you see how she counted her anxiety? I mean, she did her anxiety from beginning to end. Sorry, she rated her anxiety from 1 to 100. And then she did it, and then she rated her anxiety afterwards. Well, trust me, we didn't watch the end. I'm pretty confident her therapist was asking her to rate her anxiety at the end on a scale of 100. I'm not certain because I didn't see the video. I'm fairly confident though, because that's how it goes. You rate your anxiety, you do what you're supposed to do, and then you rate it again. And this has been tried and tested over and over again. If you're scared of anything that's irrational, if you're scared of anything that's irrational, and there's many irrational fears people have, flying, plants, bees, driving, right? Choking, dogs, birds, not having a place to exit. I'm not sure if that would count. Maybe. It's agoraphobia. Fear of contamination, fear of getting sick, right? Fear of harm coming to family members. If you can stay with that feeling for a long enough period of time, your body naturally, I heard it said very beautifully one time. I'll show you guys that video one time. When I get an iPad, I can show it to you. I downloaded the entire A&E Obsessed series, and I want to show you guys that. She said very importantly, and it really stuck with me, she said, the human body will not allow a person who is anxious to stay anxious for long periods of time without the anxiety coming down, because that's not how the human body was built, to always be anxious. The human body was not built to always be anxious. So eventually, even in nature, she's saying, you will get anxious and then it'll calm down, because it's evolutionary and it's instinctual. We are the greatest predators, and when we have anxiety that's overblown, our bodies will say, no, if you continue having this anxiety, you won't be able to fight, you won't be able to hunt, you won't be able to protect yourself and your family. And so that's why it comes down. It's not magic. It comes down because of basically evolution, because we are the dominant species on this planet, and if we get anxious, our bodies will say, no, you're going to get destructive. So eventually it will reach a peak that you think will never reach. It will reach that peak. And as far as I know, no one's ever died from anxiety. Anxiety is not fatal. And then it will start to come down. You won't believe it'll come down, and most of the times you'll avoid even getting anxious because you disbelieve, or I've never seen any evidence of it coming down. If you take that first step and believe in yourself, do some deep breathing exercises, pray, have some faith, even if you don't believe in God, just have faith in your atheism or whatever, right? And it will come down. It will go up and up and up and up. What did she say? It was like at 90. At her peak, it went to a 90. And I guarantee you it went down. She said it started with like a 60. Then it went up to a 90 when she had to touch it and touch all the bite marks and everything. Oh yeah, I remember what the other video was about. So we'll wrap up with that. The other video was about what is EMDR. EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Basically a psychological technique that a lot of psychologists are using now to help treat, traumatic events. Not necessarily OCPD or phobias, or not necessarily, I mean, phobias, choking phobia, or the phobias we mentioned in these videos. More of like traumatic repressed experiences that you just have trouble dealing with, and so you start acting out in your day and you don't know why. Because the basic theory of it is, doctors believe that when someone is traumatized from something like a rape or a war or something like that, they tend to not, the brain, because it's so anxiety producing, this may even be related to evolution again, I'm not sure, would actually forget, right? Or would mask, or would, like a bottle that's like, it has that's like piping boiling, and you gotta like twist it or it'll boil over. That's what the brain tries to do. It tries to twist the cap so it won't boil over. The only problem is eventually it is going to boil over until you deal with the fact that you forgot to leave the stove on, right? So what I mean by that is, unless you deal with the root causes of your trauma, you won't get better. And as I said, the brain won't even let you remotely access your trauma. So one of the ways we begin the process of healing is do EMDR. What happens is the psychiatrist, as I mentioned in the video, takes a pen and holds it around your eyes so you can follow it. And while that's happening, he's asking you to remember your traumatic event. And I've done it 2 times. I've realized that it's, some people say it's a pseudoscience, some people say it's hypnosis. I've realized that in a way, it helped me become free of my thoughts. It helped me say anything I wanted, anytime I wanted, and it helped me be free. I could have said anything while that was happening, because what I needed was to be able to be validated. Because when someone goes through a thing like a rape, they're obviously gonna not feel validated. They're gonna feel, right, like you shouldn't have done it, right? Like it was somehow your fault, right? These thoughts like you're self-worthless, you're a whore, especially when you're gay and Muslim. You're like even worse. So with that being said, when it happened to me, talking about the EMDR, I felt a lot of dark images coming to my brain, like almost like everything I was thinking about the rape was covered in like this dark liquid. I want to say it's like oil, but it just has the consistency of oil. I know it's not oil, it's like darkness. You know how darkness overspreads and it like gets on everything from the mountains and all the way down to the little cities? That's what I was thinking when I was doing this EMDR. I know this is hard for me to talk about. I need to talk about it though, because there's other people out there who have also suffered from these sexual abuses, and to not be silent is allowing them to do it again. I will not allow myself to be raped again. So as I was going through this, I found that my brain, not only was I allowed to say things more freely, I felt that like my brain was telling myself, because of this person doing this, you have more time than you think you do. And that time, because that time that I felt like I had was missing earlier in my life, because I would always not think about these things, or I would kind of like blame myself, like, oh, God hates you, God punishes you, you shouldn't have went out with this guy, and you should have known better, you're gay, go back to Islam. And it's like, so you just think that and say, okay, it's true. You don't realize that at the end of the day, that leads to maladaptive coping mechanisms like cutting yourself and going to the mental health unit and being suicidal, and the best thing to do is kind of just allow it to happen. The feelings, not the action. You fight like hell if it happens. I mean, if it happens and you're dealing with these feelings, like the first thing you need to do is call 911. That's what I should have done. What I did do though was, after he left, I smiled. That's all I did, because that's how my brain was masking the emotions. I wasn't strong enough to pick up my phone and call 911, even though I remember distinctly, I thought to myself, maybe I should like tell someone. Like the thought was like there, how it's like not fully formed. It was almost hurtful to think it. Like maybe I should let like the cops. That's kind of the thought going in my brain. And so that was a thought going, and I was just kind of like waiting to get out of the car so I could come back home to see how much I was damaged, down there. And it was a very traumatic event, as I said, and it took me, I don't know how long too, you know. Because it's hard to remember dates back then. I just remember around 2011 I went to the hospital, you know, because I had to tell them I was raped, and I don't remember exactly when I was raped. I know it was probably late 2010. I think it was around the holidays. Okay, so that's that. You know, so I mentioned in both videos, and I mentioned everything I wanted to talk about. Talking about rape is hard. No one wants to talk about rape. You know. Guess I could talk about my experience. I think I already have. I think maybe it'd be nice to talk about it instead of just repressing it now that I brought it up. So here's my rape story. I was on the internet, you know, on this website called Chat Avenue. I was in the gay chat room looking for, you know, just someone to like meet up with, and you know, it's like Tinder, just meet up and have sex. So met this one guy, and he was a teacher, and he said he wanted to like meet up with me, and I was like, okay. So he picked me up, and he took me to like a parking lot that was kind of like, you know, secluded, and he started touching me and everything, and you know, we enjoyed ourselves, and then we went home. And I thought that was great, that was awesome. And I also thought, like, he was a teacher and he's really bad at sex. Like, he was really bad. He was really, really, really bad at sex. And like, I don't, that doesn't mean like I'm good at sex. I'm, you know, it's been a while. So I don't know. What I mean to say is though, like it kind of turned me off for two reasons. One, he was really bad. The second one was he said he was married. And I don't deal with, like, I don't want to be an adulterer, breaking up a marriage. Like, you have kids, you have a job, you have a life. What are you doing on Chat Avenue with someone like me? Seriously. You know what I mean? So, I kind of said after it, I'm never going to, you know, it's a one-time thing. I'm probably never going to see him again, and I wish him well. I'm just not interested in, you know, I fantasize about the idea a little bit. Oh, I'll break up with someone. And I thought there's no point. Like, it's just, like, you know what I mean? It's a fantasy you just have to make yourself feel good. I mean, I don't want to be an adulterer. I don't want to be breaking up a relationship. So, I'm back home on Chat Avenue, and I found another guy, and he says he wants to buy me clothes. He said he'll buy me like lingerie from La Senza if I hang out with him. And I said, well, first thing I have to do is see a picture of you. And he didn't send me a picture. He's like, no. Like, he was like trying to be like a boss daddy. You do what I tell you to do when I want you to do it, and you know, I'll buy you stuff. It's kind of like a sugar daddy type thing. And eventually I said, you know, I'm bored and it's kind of cool. Maybe he will be a cool sugar daddy. He's gonna buy me things. So I think a week passed or something. I forget. Maybe it was the same day. I don't remember. I think it was a couple of days later. I'm not sure. I think it was a couple of days later. I agreed to meet up with him, and I finally get a look at his face. So he pulled up to my house in a big car, and so I walk over to the passenger door, just take a look at his face. He you know, turns down his window, and I look at his face, and I say, I'm like, oh, can I have a cigarette in your car? Just kind of, you know, have a good look at his face. And I realized he wasn't very attractive. He was like 50, white and old. And his face was just, you know, just older. It wasn't my, you know, it was like at least 50. I was like 27, 28, 29. And I don't know why I got in the car. A part of me was thinking, I think this is why I got in the car, because I thought this is going to be the beginning of like him becoming my sugar daddy, where like I won't have to work anymore, and he'll just like give me stuff. Wow, was I in for a surprise. So we're driving around, and he just says, do you want to go to a hotel? No, he didn't say that. We were driving around near hotels, and so I think he was thinking that. He probably was thinking something like, you know, like, what are we gonna do? We can't just be driving around. And so he had a truck. It was like a flat. It was like one of those vans, and so the back seats were taken out. So he basically just pulled in somewhere, like near some warehouse that was like, you know, secluded, obviously, you know, away from everybody. And then I got out of my car. I mean, I got out of his car. I had a cigarette, and he basically got in the back seat and waited for me. No, then he got out of his car, and once I finished my cigarette, I got into the back seat with him. Like, we both look at each other, like, are we gonna do this? And I was like, I guess. I was just like, okay. Like, I wanted to see where this would go. And so he on his van, and the first thing he does is take off his pants. And I said to him, oh, did you get me that stuff from La Senza? He's like, yeah. He's like, I want to see you put it on. So I take my pants off and I put it on, and that really must have excited him, because he started, like, getting really erect with his penis, and it was really big. And I was kind of attracted to his penis. It was really big. It was like, sorry guys, it was like 6.5 inches. So after that, basically what happened was, he asked me if I wanted to, suck it. And so I did for a little bit, like no more than a couple minutes. I think he was about to ejaculate. So he's like, he basically like took his whole body towards me and put his penis in there. And it was really big. It was really big. It was like too big. And he put it in too fast. And I wanted to say something, so, I kind of put his, away from it a little bit, and I said, can you hold on a sec? And he's like, no, just relax. And he mentioned earlier that I forgot to mention. He mentioned earlier that he took half a Viagra. That explains a lot. No excuse to sexually assault me. Anyway, so I kind of let him put it in more than I would feel comfortable, and it hurt a lot. Although eventually, because I am experienced with anal sex, I got used to it, and so we started like doing the missionary style. And it started hurting a lot, because he started putting in and out, not really keeping it in, but just kind of putting in and out. And I finally said to him after about a couple minutes, hey, do you mind if I maybe lay on my stomach and you can like do me that way? And he's like, sure. And that was like my worst mistake, because once I did that, he just completely like tore into me and kept doing me and doing me and doing me. And after about 10 minutes, I realized, I'm not enjoying this. Like, my penis is not getting erect, and I'm not sexually attracted to you, and maybe I made a mistake. So I thought about this for a while, and then I started saying, should I just tell him to stop? Like, am I getting raped? What's happening here? And I wasn't getting raped then. I was still enjoying it. It was when, maybe I was getting raped then. I basically, I'm not sure. At one point, all I remember is at one point I said, I said stop, because he was going too deep, too fast. And I felt like maybe I was bleeding. And usually when I bleed, I stop for a little bit, right? To kind of see the damage, to see how far I've gone and whatnot. What I do with myself, or whether I'm with a partner. And they would be very understanding. They would get out and look and be like, are you okay? Do you need to use the washroom? Normal thing people say. And then he didn't listen to me, though. He kept going harder and harder when I said stop. Like, when I said stop, he went so hard. So that's when I realized I was getting raped. And so I said stop one more time. I said stop. And because maybe I thought he didn't hear me the first time. He just kept going. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes, I tried to like get up off of him, physically push him off of me, physically with my strength, push him off of me, and it didn't even budge. I was like a twig compared to him. I was squished. I think that's when he realized that maybe he wanted, I wanted to stop it. So he kept going until he ejaculated in my anus, and then he got off of me. Which I don't know how long that took. It felt like 10 minutes. I know it's probably closer to 2 or 3. Okay? And then he got off of me, and he basically started going into a story about how he used to go, his ex-girlfriend, he fucked his ex-girlfriend the way he fucked me. like just kept going and going and going, wouldn't listen to anything the person says, and then, you know, that's it. And I think because he kind of realized I wasn't feeling very comfortable after what he did to me, and I thought, why are you telling me this long-winded story? Like, it was totally long-winded. Like, oh man, I had a girlfriend one time and she was blah 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 blah, and you know, we were banging it, and you know how it goes, it felt so good, and I was just like, it kept going on and on and on, like, you know how bitches like it. I was just like, okay, I'm bleeding out my ass right now. And I get home, and a part of me thought, I gotta tell somebody, and then a part of me thought, no, I gotta go home and just, you know. And that's when I learned you should never take a shower after you're raped, because his DNA was still on me. Unfortunately, I did, you know, because no one told me these things, you know. And now I'm a rape victim. Alright guys, this has been long enough. I don't want to talk anymore. So, I'm gonna end the video here. This is part 2 of my exposure video. Hope you guys like it. From a 10 to a 9. Remember guys, stay with it.